Walk up in the life. Yeah, I'm really him. Talking my shit like I'm really him. Hold up.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Diamond Duos podcast. My name is Dad Gaming Dad 25. This is my co-host Josh 2K,
What's good?
and we got another fire guest for you guys, man. On the first episode, when I said I was excited for one of these guests, this is that guy. He gives a lot of information to the 2K community. He's notorious out here in these Twitter streets. My boy Spontaneous Jei, aka Holo J.
Yo, what's going on, man? It's an honor to be here. Great to be with the dynamic Diamond Duo.
It was almost dynamic duo, but we
We
stuck
went
with
back
that.
and forth on it. We
Yeah.
went back and forth on it for a while, actually.
All right,
No,
so I'm sorry. Intro yourself a little bit, Jay.
No, just very nice to be here. We all love gaming. We all have history with getting to know each other through gaming. And what I really enjoy is just hearing you all speak. Shout out to all the other guests that you've had, all the topics you cover. And we could talk about 2K. We could talk about more than 2K. We could talk about other games too. So just really honored to be here and chat with y'all. And thank y'all for listening. Make sure you like and subscribe. Leave some stuff in the comments so we can see what you think.
There we go. That's what I like to hear.
Yeah.
So you've watched most of the podcast, so you know what goes first. A little game we like to call this or that. So since you play, I believe you play mostly no money spent, right?
Yeah, usually with any game, even before 2K, when I used to play a lot of these mobile games, my whole thing with, Clash of Clans or Heyday was try to figure out how to play the game without spending money and see if it's possible. So when I first played 2K and the auction house was available at the time, I was trying to figure out how to do that. So that became
RIP.
part of the challenge. What about you guys?
I'm trying my best.
I used to be all money spent, and then I had children, and now it's little money spent.
All right, but so for this or that, I did tailor it towards you a little bit. It's going to be no money spent cards from this year and last year.
Okay.
I did stick to mostly season one cards for last year, just to kind of level the playing field a little bit. And when you think of these cards, I want you to think of how good these cards were in perspective towards other cards out at that time. Because some of these cards are subjectively better than the other cards, but think of it in the time frame they came out. Okay.
All right.
All right. So your starter card is going to be D Wade from this year, Diamond D Wade. So do you prefer this D Wade or Diamond Takeover Iggy from last year?
I think I would enjoy the D Wade because I like D Wade a little bit better than the Kyrie once we were able to get him. And with being no money spent, a lot of cards, packs, and everything in the player market were a pretty big uh, kind of way to gain it before, even though you could earn more MT. So I would go with D Wade this year because just it was a grind to get it. And people had to get those Sapphire cards, right? That was kind of the hard
Oh,
part of that. So I would say
Yeah.
definitely D Wade was worth it, and shout out to the previous D Wades and level 40s in the past. So
Oh, yeah. So you kind of alluded to this one. So D Wade or the level 40 Diamond Kyrie?
yeah, D Wade easy. Next.
no
Uh,
explanation needed. All right, D Wade or Trophy Case Pink Diamond Russ.
Ooh, that's hard because
Go in the room.
with the trophy case, I went Derrick Rose first, and in retrospect, afterwards, I wish I would have gone Russ. I would say I usually like playing rim running, so I think I would have to go Russell Westbrook trophy case pink diamond.
that
Uh,
card was so good.
and I was a homer last year. I swore up and down that Derrick Rose is better than Russ, but it was pretty hard to defend. I'm not gonna lie.
I was kind of late to getting Russ because I knew I wasn't going to get Larry Bird for a long time. So I was like, I'm going to go for the Pacific Division so I can get that Galaxy Opal AD. So I didn't get Russ until probably like season 3. But oh my God, he still ran for me forever. So I can't be mad at you for that. So Pink Diamond Russ versus the Diamond Brandon Roy that just came out in season 1.
Oh
I don't know if
man.
you had a chance to really experience them,
No,
but
I didn't. I didn't get B Roy, so I guess by default I would have to abstain from this one and just stick with Russell Westbrook. But when for the folks who grinded for Brandon Roy and did the amazing grind to get that card, they seemed to think he was SG1, SG2. So I think they
mhm.
played different positions, but I think since I haven't gotten the Roy myself last season, I'll probably stick
Mhm.
with Westbrook.
All right, so now we got the Pink Diamond Westbrook or Season 1 Pink Diamond Scotty last year.
Oh, that Pippen card was great, and he was the player that I used most in co-op if I checked my games. So I would go with Pippen just because he came out early, and I would almost say that. What do you guys think? Do you think Pippen is probably the best level 40 we've had since Pippen?
Um, I
My
I'd say Pippen was really good last year, and he ran for a long time. And I think he was probably the best last year off the top of my head.
yeah, he's the best last year, but
This
my
year, I
two.
really do like this Kyrie and this Will, but it's more like I said, like Scotty's probably more statistically better. But for the flow of the game right now, I kind of like Kyrie and Will.
I think if I were to go back and he'd be top 3, but that Kawhi and that D Rob from what was that 2K21 maybe?
Yeah,
I don't remember
21. The
exactly which one
Opal,
it was.
right? I think it was season
Yeah, the
four
Opal
Kawhi, and then season five D
Those
Rob.
two are my top 2 as far as all-time level 40 cards. But this Scottie Pippen, he played for me forever last year. So he was so good. His
And for a
jump
while, there
shot
was no reason to take him out the lineup. Like
really.
Yeah, he was a lock at the 3 for the longest time.
Mm-hmm.
until people started to get the Opal Jimmy Butler. So
That's your next one.
Opal Scotty or Opal Jimmy? I mean, Pink Diamond Scotty or Opal Jimmy?
Yeah. It's funny because I was going for Opal Jimmy Butler as my first trophy case Opal, and I was gonna stay on the east side to get Dr. J, but then I flip-flopped and went for Anthony Davis. So I actually delayed getting Jimmy Butler until later. And I think by the time I got him later, because I got AD first, he didn't have as much of that lasting power as Pippen did when I first got Pippen. So, gave me that. If we go back to your original question, kind of like how good was that card at the time they were out and how long did they last? I would still stick with Pippen just because I got Jimmy
And
Butler a little bit later.
I got Jimmy Butler as my first Opal, and I feel like I don't know if I got a defective one. Like he played good, but people were talking about this card like it was the end all be all. I got him relatively early too, and he didn't get the defense animations I was expecting. I hated his jump shot. He stayed in front of the ball handler, but I don't know. I wasn't as big as I wish I went AD first.
I don't regret going AD first. That card was immaculate. I love that card. Absolutely love it.
The only reason I am happy that I got Jimmy first is because Dr. J was him. Like
Never got Dr. J. I wish.
he was a goon.
Maybe I'll go back and get him now.
You
Fuck
got time. You can
yeah.
still go get it. There's some agendas in there that you
Yeah,
can
no
slowly
worries. The
work on.
servers are still online. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, that
Oh,
Pippen was good.
bruh. Don't get me started. No, this is a 2K24 podcast. We're not I got that gave me
I thought it was a 2K podcast. I'm sorry, I
okay, fuck it.
misunderstood.
I'll go in. Fuck those agendas. Like I was when they dropped those agendas to get the pieces, I was so fucking pissed off. Like, because I was like, I'm not doing all this shit. I'm not. Fuck it.
Yeah, they made centerpieces so difficult to get.
Like
Oh man.
I preferred doing every game mode. I really did. I promise I did. All
And
right,
I
but
think it was like
before
right
we get
before.
into some of these topics, Jay,
Yo,
we're, oh
just one
no,
thing
go ahead.
because I
Oh, go
think
ahead.
that's
My
part of the
bad.
frustration, and then we'll end it and then move on to this here. Is right before they dropped those agendas, they had all these option packs where it was basically flowing like water, and all of a sudden the water flow got stopped, and then
Mhm.
it pushed everyone to that, and that was part of the rough decision for those who were so close. But anyway, move on. Let's move on.
Dried up.
Back to the present.
All right. So the question we always like to ask for all the guests is: so far in the year, what would be your overall rating of 2K, 1 to 10?
10 being highest, 1 being lowest. I would say 7.
Yeah, one
Mhm.
being like Trey Young and 10 being Scottie Pippen.
So I would say 7, like Josh Giddey in the middle.
Hey,
Okay.
okay.
Yeah, do you want me to? What
All
do you
right.
guys think?
So
How would you guys score the
yeah,
game so
elaborate a
far?
little bit. I think I gave it like an 8, I believe, but I don't like to give eights on ratings. I feel like that's cheating. Um, So if I had to go up or down, I'd go 7 also.
Yeah, I go back and forth on it. I honestly am at the point where I feel like I need to break it down into two separate games between my team and my career because I've always been a my team guy. And I'd say from the my team's perspective, maybe a 5. My career, I'm having a blast. I'd say like a 9. So I guess if you balance it out, the game's a 7. But I think my team is definitely dragging the grade down a little bit.
All right, so Jay, I'm curious. When did you start to become the Holo God? So when did you start? What made you start going that route, and when did you decide you were going to start running with this?
Well, I think the story with, Holo cards first got introduced to the game in 2K22, right? Before that, there were no Holo cards.
Mm-hmm.
So in 21, I still remember I would watch a bunch of different YouTube content creators, not really on how to beat like different gauntlets or spotlights. I would watch all the people who would post content about how to work the auction house, how to sell and flip things, because again, that fits that, hey, how do you play this game? No money spent journey, right? So I think it
Mm-hmm.
started in 21 where my goal was to pay for or to buy a card from the auction house, to try to find a card with a diamond contract, but then buy it for the price of a card without a diamond contract. That was the challenge, right? It's the same as going to
Mm-hmm.
Target or Walmart, going to an end cap, looking for a clearance deal. That's that excitement, right? That little rush that you feel like you got a good deal. So in 21, I would try to
Mm-hmm.
buy as many cards with diamond contracts as I could. And eventually, I think I had like 150 cards with diamond contracts on them that I didn't put the contracts on, where I bought from the auction house. So that same flipping or buying a card below value, when Holo cards then came out, I said, well, this is a different way to collect cards. And it started with trying to collect just a 13 card roster, a Holo squad, right? And eventually, I guess that
Mm-hmm.
became an addiction where I couldn't buy these top tier cards because you all know, like, the good thing about the player market this year is that top tier cards are capped versus all 2Ks before with an
Mm-hmm.
auction house, those prices would be through the roof, right? So
And
not
you
being
kind of
able,
know exactly like one thing that like grinded my gears last year. Like for instance, the card I really wanted was Dark Matter Kobe when it came out, right?
right?
And when he came out like 1.2 mil, I grinded to 1.2 mil. He jumped up to 1.3 mil. Grinded to 1.3. He jumped up to 1.5. With the player market, if nothing else, you know exactly what you're gonna get.
Mm-hmm.
Yep,
There's
agreed.
good things and bad things with it, if you ask me, because like he was referring to, the adrenaline rush. The auction house was almost a game of its own. It was like its own separate mode. The amount of time that I spent last year, I was really trying to work on collector level. And one card from the select sets that always drove me insane was the Amethyst Grant Hill because he was going for like 400K because he was basically the gatekeeper. So I think it was Diamond Jalen Brown who had the duo with the Tatum at the time. And at the time, he was,
Last year,
yeah.
didn't they give us that Grant Hill Amethyst?
In
Later,
Unlimited
a few
afterwards,
seasons
yeah.
later, yeah. Yeah, a few seasons later, kind of like they did with the DeMar DeRozan for Tim Thomas. But at the time when he first came out, he was going for 400K. And I was like, I'm not paying that for a card that's not even going to play for me. I just need him for a collector. So I would spend hours in the auction house trying to snipe him. And sniping, I was never huge into it, but I could see like the adrenaline rush of doing that. I would snipe diamond contracts or stacks of 20 gold contracts, and I'd feel like the king of the world. So that's one thing I do miss about the auction house. It was its own game mode almost.
Yeah, I didn't partake. I hated the auction. I didn't hate the idea of the auction house, but I had people come in the chat sometimes talk about like how this is their new snipe filter and this is they've been grinding the auction house all day. And I'm like, yeah, I just can't do that. And it's been like that since like the beginning of my like from Madden Ultimate Team to the Diamond Dynasty. I've never been able to do that to just grind the auction off. I just don't have the patience for it.
I feel that.
And the
All right,
irony
so
to it,
Jay,
yeah.
I
So
hate this fucking delay. No, go ahead.
no worries, man. Well, going back to your original question, so I think to Josh's point, that little thrill of being able to get something at what you might feel like is a steal, then then you seek out that thrill again, right? So if what you get excited about
Mm-hmm.
is beating someone in an unlimited game, or getting that ring, or in a different mode or in a different way, it's getting a steal. That's what you want to replicate, right? You want to feel that excitement again and again. And the funny thing, Gaming Dad, is that when I was sniping or looking for a holo, I wasn't looking for a top tier one. I was looking for the budget ones that no one wanted, because those were plentiful.
Yeah, because a lot of
And
those people would just post them at like the
oh
same price,
yeah,
pretty much.
or they would look at the card and not even know it's a holo, and post it thinking it's just like the regular card art. I mean, some of those sets were really, really hard to
Jay was
tell.
like, "You fool!
I was like,
This is
yes,
worth
you look at the golden
millions."
border. That's how you tell.
Man, your collection last year was insane.
That was gonna be my next question. Do you know if anybody had more holos than you last year? Like, to your knowledge?
So Xbox market and PlayStation market are also different, right? Because the prices are different,
Mm-hmm.
the snipes are different. I know that there's what I've appreciated collecting holos is meeting other people who wanted to collect, no matter if it was just one card of their favorite player or ultimate collections. I know a couple of folks out there really collected a ton. Gooseflesh being one of them on PlayStation. I believe he's from Europe, and he was always neck and neck with me, and I knew he was no money spent too. And the race came down to last year in 23, who can get Greg Oden. And he and I were both missing that card as the last card. And somehow I saw one listed with a grade of 7, and I said, I don't care there's a grading on it. I need that last gatekeeper card. And I was able to get
Mm-hmm.
that last card, and he, I think, was missing that last card because by then the game was kind of really losing its momentum. Everyone was looking forward to the new game. Um, but it was
Mm-hmm.
just fun to collect with other people. Like, my whole thing is I don't want to flex my collection. I want other people to find another way to have fun in the game, right? And if people can
Mm-hmm.
pull
Yeah,
a
because
fun
that's
holo,
dope.
just like this year, right? Right now I have two holos, two gold holos, right? But when I see people and you all pull amethysts and diamonds, and they sell for 4 times now, you grade it, you get like a 9 or above, they sell for a multiplier now. That's the fun of it now, and I don't mind that I don't have any holos as long as other people can still enjoy it.
What's
And I like
crazy
the. Go ahead, Josh.
What's crazy is any stream I go into, and even in my streams, anytime anyone pulls a holo, your name is the first name out of their
Yeah.
mouth. Every time. That or Otis Thorpe. But that
No,
is just
but I was gonna
it's funny.
say,
It's crazy.
I like that you touched on. It's just a fun way, a different way to enjoy the game. Because like you said, you put one hollow, cool. Then you realize like, oh, I got 10, and then you realize like, well, I got 20 of these things, and then you start. This becomes a game in itself, and which is what you ended up partaking in.
Yeah, most definitely. The part is, and this is why I'm trying to wait and see what 2K does with the player market this year. In previous years, cards would come out, and after that weekend, the prices would come down, except for the top tier card, right? This year in the player market, we're
Mm-hmm.
seeing
Yeah,
cards come out, and it's not being touched for 3 weeks. And what after 3 weeks, it goes down what, 5%, and then slowly 5%
not
after that.
barely anything.
So there's no real depreciation happening. The only depreciation or the tax that's happening is when we buy a card, it immediately, like a car, loses like 60% of the value, right? So I'm really
Mm-hmm.
trying to see if they
They're
can
teaching kids
accelerate.
economics.
Yeah, but I think cards need to be lowered in buy price faster. And part of the reason why I want to do the price guides, one, to give people information to decide what they want to do, is I want to call out how slow it is. And it doesn't make sense that these amethysts and diamonds are going to be pretty much the same price as what they started out with, even 2 months after they got released. It just, I think that more attention needs to be paid to that, and definitely the community has given plenty of feedback to wanting that to come down.
All right,
Yeah.
so talking about your price guides, that kind of leads me into my next question I have. When they started dropping the info on 2K24 and they showed the what's the value of holo cards going in, they said we weren't gonna have the auction hall. you as like last year, that's what everybody knew you for, right? What was your thought process when you found that information out, and how long did it take you to kind of to find your niche this year in those pricing guides and the more informative content on Twitter?
Man, that is a great question because we all love a basketball game. We all love basketball, and then we come to love content because we find people who enjoy our content, right? Both of you, you stream the games you want, you have your own style, you have your own vibe. I come watch you guys because I want to watch your content. And it's different when all of a sudden that identity that we've come to appreciate and our communities come to appreciate isn't there for us anymore. And I think a lot of people, shout out to the sniper, shout out to a lot of other market content creators in the past, they all had to pivot and go into, my MBA or a lot of different modes to try to find out where their new place is. I think for me, data and numbers is always something that I've enjoyed anyway. And I wanted to blend information with visuals. And that's another thing what I've enjoyed doing after meeting people in the 2K community is I like putting out tweets last year where, oh, is season 6 going to have WNBA players? Is this a real screenshot or does it look close enough to a concept art where, it's you don't know what it is, you can do that double take. So it did take me a little bit of time to
The
adjust this
Grinder is
year.
about to be my starting center. I know that much.
And especially if they could be a center or play a point guard, then you have different players running different positions.
I was
That
gonna
would
say
be.
something, but then people will call me misogynist. Let me keep my mouth shut.
It's probably just like what you were saying with the celebrity cars last episode.
Nah, I
The
was gonna say I
height
want.
runs the game.
Nah, I was gonna say I want that fine ass girl from the Aces. What's her name?
Oh my god! Here we go.
She
Here we
can be
go.
my starting point guard.
On to the next subject before you get us kicked off of YouTube.
Oh, wait till the player model doesn't
Hey,
match
this
like the
isn't.
real look in life. It ends up being some like
I'd be
John
like, hey
Smith
yo, what
bench
the
player.
fuck?
They're already catching heat about that. They're catching heat. Do you see the WNBA? I think their official
Oh
Twitter
yeah,
called
yeah,
them
yeah,
out
yeah. Because
because
the
the
girl made
face
a
scans and
TikTok.
everything's not. They don't match up. They don't match up at all.
Yeah, one girl made a TikTok, and she said she was trolling, but
Mm-hmm.
I felt a little bit of emotion in her voice. Like
No,
she
I'm pretty
felt
sure the
like,
WNBA actually called out 2K.
well, it
Like the
started with one
actual.
girl.
Yeah.
One girl made the TikTok, and then she was like, even like the past year when we were in the game last year, my model it looked like me. So
Uh-huh.
like, why couldn't you use the same one as last year? This looks nothing like me. And then Riley
Yeah.
2K, fixed it, I guess, and was like, oh yeah, we'd love to get an update video. And the girl never did.
Hey, but if
Man,
she got
that was
what the voice
interesting
and what
times.
needed to be said, then that's good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. Because like, especially if they already did the face scans last year, it was just lazy. That's all it was.
Yeah, it was. I'm not gonna get into all that.
Yeah, so
They
can I
pick and
ask a
choose on
question?
things that they care about. Yeah, ask
So I got a
away.
question, kind of to follow up on Gaming Dad's question to me. Josh, earlier on, you talked about how you rate my team a 5 at the moment. You rate, the rec and the my player side a 9. Like, tell us like what was your
Mm-hmm.
thought process going through pivoting or spending more time back on away from the my team side because you're enjoying the other parts of 24.
It was tough for me at first because I've been playing my team since 2K17, somewhere around there. And I love Ultimate Team modes. I just love the idea of building lineups with some of the best players in the history. And honestly, you can learn a lot about different players from history. Like, I never heard of Bailey Howell last year. People don't know a lot about Cassie Russell outside of my team. Terry Dishinger. Names like that, which I think is a really cool like tool that they can use to really put people on to new players and educate yourself further on the game. And I just haven't felt the same excitement for my team this year. Something's off. I don't know if it's the auction house because it's like they did a lot of good things that I wanted them to do. It's just the way it got implemented didn't like. I don't know. I love watching pack opening videos. Nobody does that now because you can buy the entire set.
You got to be a fool to buy packs right now.
Yeah, I mean I do it anyway because I have a problem. But That's not the point. I love watching pack opening videos. Nobody does those anymore. I was a big advocate of being able to buy the cards so you don't have to gamble. So I'm a hypocrite. But something about it, it's like it doesn't feel the same. I grinded it like hard for the first 3 weeks, but I've come to realize that, playing my career, I can really get involved and talk to more people and play with other content creators or my friends or anything, because I never really played much co-op last year because none of my friends ever played my team. And I was on current gen last year, and everybody I talked to was on next gen, so that wasn't going to work out. So I was like, okay, well, I'm kind of doing my own thing. I'm streaming, but I'm not playing with anyone. So this year I was like, you know what? I'm going to enjoy myself. I'm going to play with my friends. I'm going to have fun. I'm going to bullshit. I'm not going to take it as seriously because this game doesn't really have anything for like competitive nature. They took out 250K. I know I'm not going to the 2K league. So there's no point of really like sweating it out, if that makes sense. Like last year, I really wanted to try to make the 250K, and I think the highest I ever placed was like 40th, and that was really good for me. But
That is really good.
it's just, yeah. I mean, I took it. I don't take 2K as seriously, if that makes sense. I'm still having fun, but like, I'm not over here trying to be the best player in the world anymore. Like, I wanted to really be the best player in the world. Now I'm like, who cares? I'm not going to get anything out of that. People might like watch my content, but if I can be entertaining, they'll watch it anyway. So, I mean, I'm done rambling. I think I've pretty much got my
I
point across on
think to
that.
follow that up, the main reason I started playing my team more last year was because I didn't have people to play park with. I just
Mhm.
spit all over my microphone. Fuck. But it was something I could play by myself, right?
Mhm.
There's endless game modes you could play alone in my team.
Mhm.
And I was like, I want to stream and I don't have anybody to play with. I'm gonna do my team. But I almost immediately fell into this mindset that I have to be better than everybody.
Mhm.
If I'm not winning, I'm miserable. Like and what's falling back into my career more this year, I got more into that aspect of I can play with my boys. If we lose, I'm gonna talk shit about them. If we win, cool.
If you
And
win, you're
then
the best player ever.
yeah, and I feel like I could be more like my team is more casual for me, which is what I needed. I feel like.
Hmm. I think that's the opposite for me. I feel like my career is more casual for me. And my team, I'm like, oh, if I'm here, I'm sweating. Like if I'm here, I'm here. But on my career, the shots I put up in my career are ridiculous. And I would never even dream of taking them in my team because I know that they're going to come back down and get an easy shot. But now I'm like, I can blame my teammates for them getting that easy shot. So I'm going to take this crazy step back over three people
Why didn't
because
y'all get back on defense?
it's like, hey, why did y'all all crash the offensive glass? You knew they were leaking out. So now I can deflect the blame and still have fun because guess what? I'm clipping it if I hit that over three people. So, I'm learning to have more fun with the game and not take it too seriously because I've never been a person that snaps their controller in half, but I definitely will beat the hell out of my desk on time to time. And I realize that if I'm going to be streaming, I can't be doing that.
Some people
So
come watch that though, Josh.
yeah, some people do watch that. Shout out to Killer Josh. I don't know if he'll see this, but the hole in the wall, that thing is famous at this point.
That's my dog.
Yeah.
Shouts out to the RT podcast. We need that back for real.
Yes, we
Yeah.
do.
All right. So when it comes to playing, like when you play and not just, make your guides or last year, work at the auction house, what's your favorite game mode to play? Just curious.
I think at the moment, uh, two good things that I think help me enjoy the My Team side and enjoy it more as a casual without getting frustrated with some of the gameplay and changes and patches lately. Two things. One is they changed Triple Threat Offline to Pro for the first 100 games. And number two,
That's awesome.
and I think they adjusted the difficulty for Clutch Offline as well. So I think there was an adjustment there, which told me that people there had to one, listen, two, make it a priority, and three, tell programmers and devs to change that. So good on that. And getting that Kyle Korver Ruby card because I put all of my badges that I could on that card. I gave him some red Kobe shoes, and on Pro, It's just 7 for 7 in 3 minutes every game. So I think that mode is the one I enjoy the most, just because there's no fouls and free throws in that mode. If you try to play clutch offline, it is the most drawn out, slow feeling game. One clutch offline game will feel
Yes.
like a 4 quarter game because the amount of fouling and everything. And I just don't want to sweat online at the moment. So I'm not really going online, and my team is fairly budget. But if I have Kyle Korver and 2 golds, I can go to TT offline, shout out to Blasian, and just jump on, get some wins, and hop off.
And that's what I learned. Like last year, triple threat offline was so cake. All you had to do is step back three, step back three. This year, it was actually kind of like that step back didn't get as much space as you got last year. So when you got the higher difficulties, shooting those contested shots were getting a little hard. So I'm glad they switched it down to pro for everything.
You know, one person that definitely was, trying to get this through a long time ago was Cheap Ludes. So, I don't know if he had any, impact on this, but I'm going to say he did because he's been asking for this forever. He's been advocating for it.
Yeah.
And, I got to give him his props, even though I have no idea if they even took that into consideration. But
Oh no,
it was
it's
long
from the
overdue.
double spy Jazz. Jazz fed those tweets from Luz to 2K
Hey,
and they
man,
listened.
with it, man. Jazz is a man of the people.
One thing I want to say real quick, going back to you mentioned the Bailey Howell card, and you also
Mhm.
mentioned DBG. I just want to throw this out here. This has been sitting on my head for like 5 months.
Oh,
D called me the fuck out on Twitter.
actually?
In his mind, he'll probably won't remember this happened.
Oh, okay. So
But
he didn't
he,
actually. Okay.
yeah, no, not actually. But so he posted like this is a good like when they dropped the historic cards, and like
Mhm.
one of them was like the first uh black basketball player, whatever, like those guys.
I don't remember their names, and I feel like a piece of shit for it, but I know exactly what you're talking about. The Pioneer
Yeah,
set.
Yep.
so he tweeted them. He's like, this is a move in the right direction.
Mhm.
And I responded, I was like, it would be so cool if they actually, like, instead of just dropping these cards and making us do the research ourselves on who these guys are, if they put like a little mini 2-minute documentary together, like they did on MLB The Show with the Negro
Yes, that's
Leagues.
exactly what I was going to say. That was amazing because it
And
gave you the
DBG,
backstory on it, everything.
yeah, DBG replied, he said, "Why don't you do it?"
Put together a little video then.
Yeah, and I was like, "Fuck!" Like it wasn't like calling out, like stop bitching, calling out, but
No,
it's
yeah, it
like
was.
you create content. Playing about them not doing this. Why don't you make the video? I was like, damn, that hurt a little bit.
He had a point too. You probably could have made a killing off that
I
video.
probably could have, and then I was going to, and I got off work and was lazy because I'm a bum.
I'm there
But
every day of my life.
I just wanted to drop that little tangent real quick. D, you're still my guy, even though you don't follow me. You don't know who I am, probably.
That's
So,
okay. Someday. Someday.
Jay, so I got a question. Josh actually had the question.
Yeah. Let me ask this question. Don't steal my thunder here. I was actually really excited asking about this. Now you got yourself a nice little logo last year. Was this something you knew was going to happen, or did this completely catch you off guard?
For the story of how I found out or got some clue to it, um,
Yeah.
well, I was completely caught off guard, um, because whenever there are those week leading to a logo show in the last 2+ years, right? So many people in the community, large and
Mm-hmm.
small, will ask for vouches, vouch each other, which I think vouching for each other is a great thing. Um,
Mm-hmm.
participated in that, like many of us did. It was kind of a fun thing to do. You got some engagement. You met some new people, and you met some trolls that you had to mute on the timeline, right? Um,
Yeah.
so I didn't know until I think I was at work. I was working from home that Friday, and I was done with my work, and then there was one contact that followed me on 2K, and they sent me a DM saying, "Hey, are you going to stream today?" And then I'm at work, I can't stream,
Oh,
and then I was dilemma where it's like, and part of the reason why I don't have face cam on is I really do try to keep my work life, professional life, and my content creating community, and I love y'all, separate and protected from each other. Um, so I had to make this decision:
Mm-hmm.
am I going to go live or not? So don't tell us. Well, I went live. So I went live and I was streaming. And so then I was with my community, right? I think I was in the community with my usual folks. I was probably in the auction house and I was probably not
Mm-hmm.
doing gameplay. And then people came into my chat and then they said, "Oh, Jay, you got it." I'm like, "Got what?" You know, because I wasn't in the 2K stream watching
Oh
Ronnie
shit.
and Stacks and them. I was live. And
Mm-hmm.
the Jay, you got a logo. And I said, I don't know, is it real? And I thought it was cap, right? People were just coming into my chat. People come into my chat and mess with me all the time. So I didn't think it was real until
Mm-hmm.
then later. I think someone DM'd me the screenshot of the recipients, and Blasian was out in there. Shout out to Blasian. Shout out to Laker fan, and I didn't see my name on that image because I usually go by Spontaneous Jei, but on that image that's pinned because I had to look back to it. It said Holo J, so it's under the letter H. So I didn't know, and then at the end of my stream, like close to it, contact I had, they DM me and they're like, "Get ready for this," and they rated me after that 2K show. So I had like
Oh
250
shit.
people on my
Oh
Twitch
shit.
stream, and I'm trying to like give 2K tips on like auction house, and I was sitting there with like 4 million MT, thinking they're gonna see that I bought MT. And this is the thing is like, I never bought MT, right? Because I'm like the whole thing is that thing. But they're in my stream with 200 people, and the chat's all like,
Oh.
"How do you have that much MT?" And I said, "Stick around and give me a follow, and I'll show you
They're like,
how."
shut
You
up.
know, that's kind of how it happened, and
Jay
So
was
go
like
ahead.
when he had all those viewers. Jay was like, well, I don't know what to do with my hair.
yeah. And you know what?
Man.
I wish I
He
would
was
have
like, I need
had
to cover this
video on
MT total.
demand. I wish I would have video on demand turned on because I had turned it off because I was
Mm-hmm.
playing music and I was worried it would get copyright struck. So I turned it off. So for that stream after I
Mm-hmm.
got rated, there's no recording for it. It's kind of the one thing I wish I would have.
Okay.
But you know what? The weird thing is last year was such a up and down rough year for the community in so many ways. There were parts in season 4 and 5
Mm-hmm.
where it's a ghost town. I felt like so many of my homies and people I knew were banned for whatever reason. I'm not here to judge anybody. And I just felt like I'm playing this game that other people that I beat in the community didn't have a chance to play. So it felt really odd. And I think if the ban wave didn't happen and large content creators were continuing to make content, I honestly don't think I would have gotten a
Mm-hmm.
logo. But I do appreciate that I got that recognition, and I do appreciate Jazz. I don't know if it's any of the next makers, Floki, DFS, any of those guys. I'm sure all of them would have had to show some support my way. But it's ultimately out of their hands. It's in Ronnie and his team's hands to decide who gets it. What we'll say is so many people that are in 2K vouch for all of us so much, but it's also kind of out of their hands to decide, who gets the next maker, who gets a logo, and all these type of things. I think at the end of the day, we just got to love our content, and we love our communities. And if it happens, great.
Mm-hmm.
If it doesn't, we can't expect it. But easily, there were parts of last year because I was in such a rough spot. So much of the community was in that down place that I wasn't even thinking about a logo. But it was a very bittersweet and thing when it happened.
On back to
Things.
back.
Hey, hopefully, because
With
now
these
like no disrespect to the hollow grind, because the hollow grind was real, but with this information you're giving out on Twitter, I'm more than due for the
they need to
logo.
put you in the 2KU tutorials for real. That's
Honestly,
seriously. Stuff like that is important. Especially somebody who doesn't like someone new coming to this game. Like I've been playing my team for like 8 years, and half this stuff with the like the player mark and everything, all this is new to me. This doesn't make sense to me. I've been playing it for almost a decade. Like, I can't even imagine what this is like for a player who's never really played my team before. They're loading it up. So, I mean, your graphs that you put together are amazing. So I could see
and like
definitely
this
a world.
math ain't 2 + 2. Like, this is like
It's
some
above my
serious
pay
math
grade.
you're
I'll
putting
say
out
that.
here.
It's above my pay
All,
grade. I know that.
yeah, all I gotta say is I've gotten to a point right now where I have one spreadsheet with the formulas. I have a PowerPoint template with the
Mm-hmm.
graphics and fonts. Where when I get that screenshot of the deal of the day, I could about a graphic in like 15
Mm-hmm.
minutes. Because I also try to automate it so it doesn't take too long to do that work. Because you're right. Like you said, Gaming Dead, right? A lot of content creation is timing. If AG said, "Hey, go make that video," and you made that
Yep,
video,
definitely.
you would have gotten viral. TikTok would have gotten crazy, and you would have gotten a lot of subs. But the moment we get busy with life and work or motivation or health, and we do it in that moment,
Mm-hmm.
that time passes.
I think, like I said, I'll be at work and I'll be so motivated at work that I get lazy, and I know I've missed so many opportunities because of that. But I think
Mm-hmm.
the moment that I can overcome that personal thing, I gotta just get over it. The moment I do that is when I can start taking content more serious. And then a funny story about that, not to sidetrack. One day I got off of work, I was home alone, and he sent me a DM. Gonna stream today? I just nah. He was like, I would suggest you stream today. I was like, okay. And like stupid, I still didn't even know what he meant. It was a Friday, which is like his biggest streams.
Mm-hmm.
So I turn on the stream. I'm like, hey guys, I don't know what I'm doing today, but we're gonna do it. Boom! Mojo raid, Mojo raid, Mojo raid. Like 100 people in the chat. I didn't know what the fuck to do with myself.
Yeah, I had a few instances like that last year where I had really bad luck and really good luck. Now, really bad luck, there were a few times when me and Mojo first started getting close where he'll be wrapping up the stream. He's got like 100 people in there. And I'm trying to put my son down because normally I start streaming around 8, 9 o'clock at night after my son goes to bed. It's like Mojo's about to wrap up. He's got 100 people in there. He's going through. He's like, is there anybody I can raid? And I was like, go to sleep, go to sleep. I need to go down there. Because at the time, I mean, I'm still a really small creator. I was like, go to sleep, man. I need this raid. Like, come on. And then I missed it. I was like, oh my God, no. But the another time, this was probably when I very first started streaming, like the first 2-3 weeks. My boy Nexus did a 24-hour stream. I went live right when he was getting off his 24-hour stream, and he had, I think, like 40 people in there, something like that. I don't remember
Yeah, I remember
exactly
that
how
one.
many it was, but he rated me, and this is when I very first started. Like, I had less than 10 subs. And I was like you said with Jay, I don't know what to do with my hands. I was trying to read chat. I was in the middle of hit my mic. I was in the middle of a game of Unlimited. I barely knew what I was doing streaming. I can't read for shit. So I'm over here trying to play Unlimited, sweating my ass off, reading chat, and it's just scrolling. I can't keep up. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? And I was like, oh, this is what it's going to be like all the time. Nope. Reality hit. That's the good thing and bad thing about getting a raid on one of your very first streams. You think, oh, it's going to be sunshine and rainbows all the time.
One more side note about the logo show. One thing you said, Jay, made me feel a little bit less mad about it, about how they kind of messaged you and kind of hinted at you a little bit. Because Mike's beef was always, I hate to do the logo show in the middle of the week, the day.
Like Fridays
Yeah, they
at
do it
It's
noon,
like a
around
right?
town.
Tuesday. It's like a Tuesday. Yeah, is it Friday? Yeah, Friday at noon. That's exactly. So every time I saw it, I was like, I get that I probably wouldn't get a logo, but it would be nice to have a chance.
You'd have a
Like
chance. Have a chance.
you gonna tell me something, Josh? You a secret agent like Jess?
If I had information, I'd give it. I don't have
Double
any
Agent Josh.
information. I just like to think that there's hope. Someday, you know what, 2K, if you're out there listening, someday I will make it to that Next Makers program. Don't know how, don't know when. I'll clean back, man.
Realistically, Jay, I think not to like get your hopes up. I think you're a given this year, man. Like,
You
you're
know,
almost
I'm
like
gonna
up there.
boycott
You're
it.
almost up there with Floki.
Floki.
Floki, yeah.
Floki, you're almost up
I
there
love
with
Floki.
him, man. Like
Love
you're a
Floki. Really good
community
dude.
staple, bro.
Yeah.
And shout out to Floki and,
That's
and the murals he
that's
did
what's
over the
crazy to
years
me because like I said,
yeah,
I
but
loved it.
speaking
I
of
loved it. I was
yeah,
always so excited when he made those.
those
You go
things
ahead,
too, because
Jay.
I don't think one was made this year, right? For season one.
Yeah,
I don't think there was one. I remember Floki was, and shout out to Floki because he's been putting in time in streaming, in his hours, and
Mhm.
I think if there was someone who was very vocal about the offline modes being overly difficult and the CPU being right up on you, and there's no way to do a step back. I think, Floki going in his streams, he's been a big advocate for that too. So, for that to be adjusted,
Offline, right?
I'll say strictly, I mean, he'll do online
Like
agendas and he would do fine. But in terms of advocating for who, I think all of us who play any offline, Ludes, Jazz, Floki, us when we play it, we'd all advocate. We just want a good gaming experience, right? When we play video games, that's the only thing. We have the stress and the work of our normal lives, and for those of us who gaming is our
Mm-hmm.
for those who are content creating life, we want a good experience because a good experience is good for us, but it's also good for our community and our viewers.
Because like nobody wants to sit here and watch you rage over an offline game.
Yeah, I have a story about that actually. I was doing the gauntlets last year. I think it was the KG gauntlets. I don't remember exactly what it was, and
The spotlights, the KG
I was
spotlight.
getting popped by the CPU. And I remember Joey was in my stream, Joey Brooklynite, and then Mojo came in, and Joey's like, "Man, Mojo, he's having a rough go here." I'm like, "Shut up, man! I'm gonna come back. I know I am." And
No,
the CPU was flooding me. I was like, "What the
out of
fuck
all
is
those
going on?"
challenges, the one that killed me the most for some reason was Antoine Walker. You had to stop him from making 3 threes or something like that. And I swear, this fool turned into Michael Porter Jr. The moment he touched it, that shit was going up. And his shot was so fast. Like, I had to click on, like, quick. Like, the moment he passed the ball, I had to hurry up and click on. He was killing me.
It was Rudy Gobert and not being blocked because some weird animation. If you try to do a step back where he just jumps so quickly, and if you even try to do a layup or anything under the basket, RN will just eventually get you. That was my pain right there.
Yeah,
They need to do
I'm
something
having
like that again.
flashbacks, man.
I know
Give me
that was like late in the
PTSD.
year, but like if they did something like that again right now, I think that shit would take off for real.
I'm surprised not doing a Halloween event right now.
Last time the Halloween event started, like it was a whole week.
Yeah, I haven't looked at the playbook. Is the playbook updated for next week?
Let me take a look. What's the site for that?
His
Tweet it,
website.
and then there's a
You can
link
pull it
to
up.
the new playbook.
I mean, usually they do something for it. I don't know what they're gonna do. Content wise, it's just so weird this year. Like here, I remember every Thursday at 2 p.m. my time, we were getting ready for leaks, and there was just so much hype and build up going into each drop. And now I just feel like there's no hype. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's people not buying packs, if it's less people playing. I don't know what it is. The hype just doesn't feel like it's there.
Like,
Fix that.
like you're 100% right because like I think maybe it's also a piece because they're dropping so much content. Also, at least like
Yeah.
packs, they're dropping so many players in packs. Whereas last year, everybody do Fridays at what was it, 8 o'clock in the morning, drop with the players. But about even like the nobody spent the grindable content hasn't really had that much hype behind it. You're right. Like there's not really that weight for the content drop this year.
But there hasn't been a card that has come out where I was like, Grant been playing as much my team, so that could be why, but it's like, and I was like, yeah, cool, but there's not been a card out besides maybe Shaq where I was like, oh
I was gonna
shit.
say
Like,
that's what I was
oh
gonna
man.
say. They fucking blew their load with the first collection.
Yeah.
Like
KD, yes, he's a
yeah,
good
because
name. He's a
after
good
Shaq,
card, but
none of those set rewards after Shaq were up to par with Shaq.
mm-hmm.
You guys
And
spent a fuck
maybe,
ton of money to get them, anyways.
yeah, there's this sense of, yeah, the player market really capped the top card, but in a different way,
Mm-hmm.
having the best card be lock-ins and so many of the sets not having players that are as playable. If you didn't pack some of those other rubies and amethysts and sapphires, you were still putting together a ton of whatever currency, whether it's VC or MT, to lock it in. And once you lock it in, you can't sell it back and upgrade and flip it for the next card, right? So you end up from a low amount of currency again. It wears, I think,
Last
after a while.
year, it was less collection based until like Tim Thomas. The set you could just buy outright for like tokens or some shit.
Have
Yeah,
definitely gone through a change this year too. It's tokens, even though they never had that much excitement, it went from a currency that we got hundreds, if not thousands, of at some point. I remember someone, I don't know if it was Junkster or Mose Ball and whoever, they had a screenshot. They had like 10,000, 11,000 tokens last year, and
that's
just nowhere to
ridiculous.
spend it. What I liked about the content last year for collector level though is they started putting in all of the mode reward cards back in the token market. So basically, if you missed seasons 1 through 6 or 7, you can go back and buy all of those reward players again from the past. I think that was good versus this year. I don't think that's going to be part of the token market. It's you have to play all these games just to get one token or rip 250
Yeah, the
packs for some
tokens are
tokens.
rough.
They're
No,
gonna.
it's
I don't see any content being put in there in future seasons.
All right. So the second to last question I have for you is feel about the no money spent experience so far this year. Last year, I know it's hard not working the auction hall and stuff, but as far as quality of cards, it is compared to last year.
The cards in the game for those who buy it or grind for it do give them a better squad to be able to play against the various modes. I think it's not about no money spent. It's about how much time people are choosing or having time to play the game if they don't want to pay for the cards they want. And I think we've seen shout out to Nexus. He took some the break from 2K23, and he's been
mm-hmm.
on a great no money spent grind. Shout out to Federal. Federal just got Shea. So it's very, very
Oh
possible,
Already.
shit!
but I think
That's
it's a time issue. So it's how much time are people spending? Because I think no money spent is possible. It's just how much time people got. And for me, I don't have as much time, and I'm not choosing to put as much time into grinding all of the modes. So for me, my version of no money spent is very different from Federal and Nexus's version of no money spent. But I think there's still people out there getting collector level easily with going no money spent.
Yeah,
Nexus grind is crazy.
and
He's
some
pretty
people
much
were
caught up.
getting the Steph Currys, the Shaqs, all the damage no money spent.
It's impressive, you know. I don't have it in me to do it, no money spent, but it is impressive seeing people do it. Like I said, Nexus has all the set one cards collected or series one, whatever you want to call them. No money spent completely. He's got a bunch of collections locked in. He's pretty far along in the collector level, and I've been begging him to start streaming it again, man. I miss Nexus's streams, but
I got my
this
trust. I think he's moving towards getting closer that direction
I
versus,
hope so.
not
I
in that
hope so.
direction.
I haven't talked to him enough lately. Me and him used to talk almost on a daily basis, but we'll move on that. But it's doable. But like he said, with the time, it's like the Debo's videos where you play your no money spent account 1 hour a day. You're not really going to be able to keep up
Not
unless you have some crazy pack luck off of some free packs, and there's not very many free packs to be had. I did see with I don't know if it was an event or what, because I haven't been playing my team, so I might be a little in the dark here. That who was it? Call me Meech. Someone got an Anthony Davis behind the wall
saw
mode.
that too.
It's like, wow, you can get Anthony. If that is like going on still, that's a massive W. And I want to know what the odds are on that, because was that a 1 million thing that, you just happen to see that one screenshot or video on Twitter and nobody else is getting that lucky? Or is that, somewhat attainable? Because if so, I might have to get into my team. I've been wanting that Anthony Davis forever, but packs packing.
Rely, bro.
And I don't be packing nothing in them.
You want to hit him with the last question?
Jay, now I appreciate you coming on here. And now we ask you, who do we get next? And can you help us get them?
Wow. Well, we talked a lot about. I really liked a lot of the names that was brought up
Mm-hmm.
with Mojo. Shout out to Mojo, previous guest, and both of you in the panel. Thank you both for just being so gracious and having great conversations and so approachable. Um, who should we get next? Ludes. I think Ludes would be a good one, just because we got the change in the difficulty. I think that's been good.
I like that.
Like, lately there have been a lot of great videos put out by people uh,
Hmm.
teaching people about park and stuff. I don't know if Kev Cruz or someone like that who makes a lot of great content.